Before you start mixing your material, whatever it may be, you have to state a few details about your PPE. So in all cases, you would begin by saying, I have washed my hands, I'm wearing my full PPE, which includes gloves, mask and goggles. My hair is neatly tied back. I'm not wearing any jewelry. I don't have any nail polish on. I'm wearing my clean uniform and I'm wearing closed-toed shoes. So this is a little introduction which should go before you start mixing. Then, for all of the materials, you have to cover your working surface with a paper towel, which will be provided for you. So you have to tell the examiner, I'm covering my working surface. And then you have to check the expiry date of the material. It is very, very important, so please make sure that you do that before you start dispensing your powders, your liquids onto the paper pad or glass slab. I'm now going to show you how to mix IRM. IRM stands for Intermediate Restorative Material, and this means that this material can be used for a long-term temporary. Usually temporary filling materials can be used for a few weeks to a month. This one can stay in the tubes for up to 1 year. IRM is a type of zinc oxide and eugenol cement. So the powder is zinc oxide and the liquid is eugenol. For this I will need a glass slab and a metal mixing spatula. First of all, I'm going to take off my scoop and I'm going to again fluff up the powder to make sure that it's nice and even inside. I'm going to place it down and I'm going to tap on the lid to make sure that nothing comes out once it is open. I place the lid this side up, and if you look inside the bottle, you will see that there is a plastic bar on which we're going to level our scoop. The ratio for this material is 2 scoops of powder to 3 drops of the eugenol. So I'm going to dispense first of all the 2 scoops of the powder. I put it on one side of the glass slab, making sure that I'm not touching the slab with my scoop. Once I've dispensed it, I'm going to close my bottle to prevent cross-contamination, and I'm going to replace the scoop. I'm then going to dispense the 3 drops of the eugenol liquid. And I'm going to put them onto the side. I'm then going to divide my powder into 4 sections so that I can add it incrementally, bit by bit. In that way I can control my consistency, the consistency of the mix much better. I'm aiming for a putty consistency, which means that the finished mixture can be rolled into a sausage. I'm going to start adding the powder bit by bit, and I always take powder towards the liquid. I make sure that the first increment of the powder is all mixed up and that there is no dry powder on my spatula before I proceed to add any of the other powder. I use the clean end of the spatula to add more powder. In that way I'm not touching the unused powder with my already wet spatula. what I try to do is try to get off as much of the mixture off the spatula, because it tends to stick to it. I think my mixture is still too soft, so I need to add a bit more powder. I'm not sure if the whole portion will be needed, so I'm just going to add half of the one portion that I have, because I don't want the mixture to become too dry. As I'm mixing, I'm firmly holding the glass slab with my left hand. And I try to roll it into a sausage. However, it's still, the mixture is still too soft and too wet, so I need to add a bit more powder. I'm being very cautious with the powder. I don't want to add all of it at once, because then it will be too dry. The mixing time is about 1 to 1.5 minutes. I think the material is not the right consistency. I'm going to place a little bit of the powder onto my spatula so that when I try to roll it into a sausage, it will not stick. And here I have a nice sausage, which I'm going to place on a clean side of the slab and present to the dentist or to the examiner.